Hi, my name is Kristen Joy Carnacion, and for today's video, we are going to talk about the uses of these 20 baking ingredients. And without further ado, let's get started! Our first ingredient is all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour is versatile as it contains an average amount of protein. As the name suggests, all-purpose flour is suitable for all types of baked goods such as bread, biscuits, pizzas, cookies, and muffins. Our next ingredient is whole wheat flour. Whole wheat flour adds more nutrition, not to mention nutty and tasty flavor to baked goods and other flour-based recipes. However, this flour can sometimes make the finished product seem drier and produce a coarser texture than using a more refined all-purpose flour. The only difference between whole wheat flour and all-purpose flour is that since whole wheat flour contains the bran and germ, they are generally higher in protein than all-purpose flours. Next ingredient is cornstarch. Cornstarch isn't used as a thickening agent in cookies, but it does have a very important purpose. When a recipe calls for cornstarch, it's basically going to be there to help provide structure. You can use cornstarch to ensure that the cookies that you're baking have a necessary structure. Our next ingredient is cake flour. Cake flour is useful for baked goods with a tender texture, such as brownies, layer cakes, cupcakes, scones, and quick breads. You can also use cake flour to make pastries or desserts that are light and fluffy. Our next ingredient is cocoa powder. When used alone in cakes, cocoa powder imparts a full, rich chocolate flavor and dark color. Cocoa powder can also be used in recipes with other chocolates, unsweetened or dark, and this combination produces a cake with more intense chocolate flavor than if the cocoa powder wasn't present. Our next ingredient is granulated sugar. It is also known as white sugar or table sugar. It is the go-to sugar in baking and cooking. Granulated sugar is white in color, highly refined, and often fine in texture. Finely granulated sugar are practical for baking because of their ability to dissolve easily into a liquid or batter. Next is brown sugar. The molasses content in dark brown sugar will make your baked goods moister than if you use the light brown sugar. That means that not only is the flavor affected, but also the texture will be. Light brown sugar will result in a subtler flavor, while dark brown sugar will give your baked goods a richer flavor. Next is confectioner's sugar. It's the preferred sugar for baked good decorations such as frosting, icing, and dusting. You'll also see it used often in candy and fudge recipes as well as dense cookie and dessert bar recipes. It dissolves very easily so can be used in beverage such as homemade chocolate milk. Next is baking powder. It is used to increase the volume and lighten the texture of baked goods, while baking soda is another leavening agent, but unlike the baking powder that activates on its own, baking soda on the other side always needs to be paired with an acidic ingredient such as vinegar, citrus juice, cream of tartar, cocoa powder, or a form of fermented dairy like yogurt or buttermilk. There are three main types of commercially produced baker's yeast. The first one is active dry, instant, and fresh. All of them will work to leaven doughs in any given yeasted baking recipe, but each has a slightly different properties and for the more discerning palate, varying flavors. Our next ingredient is milk. The purpose of milk in baking may depend on your recipe. In general, milk serves as a liquid to moisten your dry ingredients, dissolves sugar, and activates gluten. This not only improves the texture of baked goods but also hydrates your proteins and starches as well as your leavening agents, which initiates the chemical reaction that changes the structure and texture of your batter or your dough. Milk is also used as a liquid ingredient for yeast dough recipes. Our next ingredient is vanilla extract. The reason why vanilla extract is used in baking is that it enhances the flavors of other ingredients like sugar and milk. But vanilla's most crucial role is to take the edge off the smell of raw eggs. This is why anything made from remotely of raw eggs must have a splash of vanilla extract. It is perfect for baking and cake decorating. Highly concentrated and vibrant gel food dye color offers a consistent color tone without changing the flavor or texture of the cake, frosting, cookie, fondant, or other product. Color additives are used in foods for so many reasons, including to make the food more attractive, appealing, appetizing, and informative. Next ingredient is egg. Eggs are incredibly versatile and multifunctional. The purpose of eggs in baking can vary depending on what you're trying to achieve for a specific dish. The incredible edible egg can be used in a variety of different ways, but is mostly used for firmness, flavor, binding, and leavening. Next is gelatin. Gelatin is a flavorless, colorless substance that's added to a dessert and other dishes as a thickening agent. Gelatin has many uses in pastry, including Bavarian cream and mousses, as well as in homemade ice cream to prevent it from becoming too hard in the freezer. Next one is butter. The job of butter in baking is to give richness, tenderness, and structures to cookies, cakes, pies, and pastries. We alter the way butter works in a recipe by changing its temperature and choosing when to combine it with the other ingredients. Next is marshmallows. It is used as filling in baking or normally molded into shapes and coated with cornstarch. It can also be used as marshmallow fondant. You just need marshmallow and confectioner's sugar. Our next ingredient is chocolate bars. While baking chocolate is unsweetened chocolate, you can use other chocolate varieties in baking. Chocolate used for baking can also be bittersweet, semi-sweet, milk, and white chocolate varieties. But the term baking chocolate typically means unsweetened. Next is dried fruits and nuts. If you want to make your food presentation a little more nutritious, try adding dried fruit ingredients to your recipes. Not only are they good for your body, but they can also boost the texture and moisture levels of breads and other baked goods. The flavor of these ingredients can really give recipes an added punch. Our last ingredient is rolled oats. It acts like a mixed in, similar to a chocolate chip or a nut. They won't help your dough bind together, but they will add flavor and texture to a baked good. Using oatmeal instead of flour in a cake or cookie recipe is an easy way to increase the whole grain and fiber content of baked goods. And that's all for our vlog. Thank you for watching.